Hello, everyone. Good evening. Thanks for joining us on this, what will be the 4th or 5th AMA of this year. I'm not sure what number we're quite up to now, but it's, yes, here we are again. Final one of the year before we take a well-deserved break for the holidays. I'm Matt. I think you probably know me from a few of these now. I'll be hosting you today with Commander-in-Chief James. I'll maybe hand over to you to say a few words, James.
Yeah, sure. I hope everyone has a happy, nice festive period. I do know there's a number of pressing issues that everybody would like to discuss and understand a little bit more about what's really going on. So I'd like to kind of keep this short, sweet, and straight to the point. So I think that probably, Matt, we just jump straight in and we get going straight away with obviously the BitMark issues and the FXF token depreciation.
Yeah, please do. We've got some really good questions from the community, but I think we'll probably cover a lot of them with that. But please, over to you, James.
Yeah, sure. So the overall BitMark hack, obviously for everybody involved, was a super painful experience. Reason being is obviously we've been working so hard, working around the clock. We have a chase the sun kind of approach for all of our team members. We're working continuously. 24/5, so we keep on pushing as hard as we possibly can. We're building out the platform. We've got all the features being added, and then obviously the last thing that we want for the community is for the token to have a huge depreciation. That's obviously happened because obviously the BitMark hack. There's been no real clarity either around how this happened, what the security breach was that happened. We've actually reached out to BitMart a number of times. We've reached out to some of their junior members. I've personally sent some of my some messages on Twitter directly to Sheldon. Again, there's just no real clarity. Ascendex was also hacked very recently. The way that they dealt with the hack was absolutely marvelous, fantastic. I'm obviously a little bit upset with the way that BitMart have kind of handled this. And obviously the tokens that have been dumped was I think it's 1.4 million. So it was a large amount of tokens. That's obviously changed the technicals or fundamentals with regards to our token, with regards to our support. Unfortunately, being CEO, we can't really control the price. We have actually executed and will be executing some kind of buyback mechanism. That is going to be happening Q1, Q2 next year. So the company will be issuing and starting buybacks. That will naturally have an effect on the price, so there will be appreciation. However, BitMark really has to be responsibility, right? They have to take ownership over exactly what's happened. And they do have to be aware that they have to go and buy the tokens back. They have come back with a first initial offer, which was like, okay, we're going to be buying back some tokens over the next 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 months. That's unacceptable to us. It's unacceptable to our community members. It's unacceptable to me and obviously the rest of the team. So we're trying to obviously build out now, trying to negotiate with BitMark, but the number one primary focus is obviously getting the global number one trading platform. That's making sure that our features, our execution, liquidity, our on and off ramps, which are recently executed, ensuring that we've also had the other major features. We've got our debit card coming out in Q1, so that will add further utility, and then obviously adding more and more utility as we possibly can. So yeah, it's been a highly frustrating time for myself, for the team, for everybody that's been working so hard on getting token support and getting people within the project. However, we are working around the clock to get this rectified. It's not an ideal time. It's obviously now it's coming up to Christmas and then obviously New Year's, but we are pushing as hard as we possibly can. So we're trying to make the best of it. We are pushing. And we're trying to make ourselves less upset with this situation by trying to get a conclusion pretty quickly.
Thanks, James. A good explanation, and I mean, I can sense your frustration there with BitMart. Just for some of the members of the community, can you explain how BitMart fit into the FXF Jigsaw as well? Because me and you know very well, but there might be some members of the community aren't quite clear of where they fit in.
Yeah, so BitMart are primarily a liquidity provider just for the FXF token. and obviously providing liquidity to other tokens and other assets. Their security measures and everything that they execute around their security is obviously something that we cannot control. However, I have discontinued today trading through our BitMark APIs for the FXF token because I just don't trust their security. We haven't been given any clarification because obviously us being regulated and regulated entity, we have to go through penetration testing. We have to go through code reviews. We have to get all these kind of certifications. We have used NCC Group. So I would have to actually see something along those kind of lines in order to be able to switch on their liquidity again. We are also looking at obviously executing with other liquidity providers. So I do know that our team are working on Gate.io. So they do have liquidity over there. So we are looking at moving over there. We are obviously following up with great urgency as well. So we're pushing this as quickly as we possibly can. Unfortunately, the dialogue has not been as active as what we would have hoped. So I'm hoping that community members, we can all kind of collaborate together because we do have around 15 to 16,000 active community members on both Twitter and Telegram. So I'm hoping that we can kind of drum up enough urgency amongst all of our community members so that you can retweet. We can all collaboratively put them under a little bit of pressure. And of course, the team have been putting them under a lot of pressure across multiple channels, and we will continue to do so.
Oh no, thanks. Really clear, James. Maybe again, just from a custodian security point of view, just to talk quickly about the FXF tokens on our platform and how they're different.
Okay, so the custody of FXF tokens on our platform actually sits with our third-party custody. So it means that you're in a regulated custodian. All the penetration tests, all the various different tests have been completed. They are also, as far as I'm aware, fully regulated here in Singapore. So we do believe that if you are able to move your tokens onto the FXF trading platform, that does give you an advantage. It gives us an advantage to make sure that these kind of issues never happen again. I think that's super important that we come together as a community and ascertain and kind of get rid of these tail end risks. Unfortunately, when we have these liquidity provider relationships, we do have to fund them. We do have to pre-fund, and we are, kind of bound to other security. But when it comes to tokens on our own platform, we can give extra surety from what we can with other exchanges or other platforms that we are unable to control. So I do believe that obviously we will be able to offer better security for our own trading platform. So if you are holding any FXF tokens and you don't want them to be hacked, or you don't want them to sit on your MetaMask or your other wallet infrastructure, then I would try to guide you to our trading platform.
Yeah, good point. I think something we often say in the office is military grade encryption, and that's really where you want your tokens to be, behind the deepest, safest vault you can possibly find. But great update, thanks. Certainly a lot clearer, and I think the community is as well. If you don't have anything else, we've got a couple of really good questions for the community, so we'll kick off with them. So sure. First of all, Joey asks, how is the project being funded? How can you ensure you won't be running out of resources to your developers and etc. before finishing and stabilizing the platform? Thanks, Joey. Good question.
So number one, the platform's now stable. So stability issues have basically been rectified. So a big shout out to our tech team. They've done an amazing job to get that sorted. Funding, no issue at all. We've got more than enough capital reserves. We've actually got confirmation today that we have 25 million euros that's going to be landing January, February next year. So that obviously pads out our balance sheet. We're also, unlike others, so other companies in the world, is that we have a lot of assets. We have a lot of crypto assets that are sat on our balance sheet, especially the FXF tokens. We have a lot of institutional customers that want to be able to have access to those tokens. So, We very rarely do it, but on the odd occasion, if we do need to raise funds, we have other options, than what other companies don't have. So we have the utility of our token. We are able to sell our token OTC to special strategic partners as and when they arise. But having 30 as of February, we'll have 40 million Singapore dollars. Up to access to 60 to 70 million, given all the tokens and everything else that we have access to. So funding and stuff like that really isn't an issue. The major issue is making sure that we hire the right staff in the right areas, in the right places in the world, acquiring the right licenses, and then obviously growing the marketing, which I think is something that everybody's pushing for. It's something that we can only really do once the platform stability has now been acquired, which is a huge tick. We want to make sure that we don't market too early, because if you start marketing a trading platform when it's not stable, you basically get one bite of the cherry. People sign up, they come on, and if they don't like the execution or they don't like or enjoy any of the user experience, whatever it is, then we have to be super cognizant and aware to not kind of push this too hard too quickly. That's where I'm urging all community members to be a little bit patient, because by the end of Q1 we should have stability. We'll be obviously adding a lot more assets. We're going to be offering like margin trading, CFDs, etc. That's all on the roadmap. So what I'm trying to do is basically get people on the platform when we feel that we can make the platform as sticky as possible. So that then means obviously towards the end of Q1 to early Q2 will be that kind of time. That's obviously then combining with the token utility. So obviously people need to want to be able to pay trading fees or whatever it is with their token. So that's obviously in the roadmap to add extra utility. Extra utility will add extra price appreciation, so the token will drastically appreciate, which I'm pretty sure everyone will be super happy and pleased. But just to summarize the question, Joey, funding, cash, we are in absolutely no issues at all. We're more than enough capitalized. We've concluded funding, Series A, etc. So yeah, we are super strong, and we're going into 2022 with the opportunity of becoming global number one.
Thank you. And we're going to stay with Joey, and you were talking about hiring. Quick question was, noticed there's more than 30 jobs open recently on Finex Flow. Have we failed to find the right people? Does this have an impact on our tier one listing, or will the current team be able to deliver as is? And it's a good question, actually, because we do have a lot of open roles. So maybe you could talk a bit more about hiring plans 2022. It's a good segue into that, actually.
Yeah, sure. So I mean, look, hiring during COVID has been tough, to be honest with you. Singapore is an island. Singapore generally doesn't have too many local developers, so you have to go further afield. You have to bring people in. Unfortunately, due to COVID, it's like talking facts. It's been hard and tough to get employment passes and being supported with those. And being able to get the top technical talent. It's not only a challenge for our projects, it's a challenge for every project around the world. I mean, when I speak to other CEOs of other projects, it's all about getting top tech talent and trying to find them and try and ascertain exactly where they are, right? So we do have a bunch of roles open. The reason why we have a lot of roles is because we can't just have one tech team. We have found that we've kind of fallen over a number of times, because obviously when issues or platform stability issues happen, and it's 4 a.m. in Singapore and we have one tech team, it then means that our tech guys are asleep, as they should be. They should be resting for the following day. But we do need other technical individuals globally around the world to ensure that they can restart servers, for instance, or they are able to ensure that the platform stability is constantly up and available. And obviously we want technical development to be continuous. We want that cadence to be 24/7. So that's why we have so many roles open. We are modularizing the trading platform. So each module is going to go to different regions, and we're going to be, for instance, the liquidity providers. We have 5 or 6 top back-end devs here in Singapore. But now we need to have a team that's just dedicated to plugging in liquidity providers. We've signed up 39 LPs, and they need to be plugged each LP takes roughly 2 to 4 weeks in order for it to be plugged in and tested. So obviously we need tech talent to be able to do that, and we need the superstars that are the top guys that are here in Singapore to be looking at more technical features rather than just plugging in liquidity providers. That's why we have a team in Miami, we have a team that's being built out in Romania, we have a team that's being built out in Jakarta and Singapore, and we have essentially classes chase the sun. So we've got like a banking model where we're constantly chasing the sun, where we always have some technical team available constantly, the same way as what our customer service are. So when customer service are now raising any issues with the trading platform, it will then go over to whatever tech team is actually working at that time, and they'll be able to deal efficiently. I think that's super important, given that crypto is 24/7. It's like it's like no other market. So obviously the only other real market that's kind of like that is the FX market. It's 24/5. But having a 24/7 market, we need to make sure that our customers are always able to execute. So even on a Saturday and Sunday, when we've got our hedge funds or we've got our retail customers that want to be able to execute in the alts or the majors, and there's a market opportunity, we need to make sure that our platform's stable continuously. So hiring the right talent in the right areas, having the right QA, QC, having back end, front end, UI, UX. Is extremely important. It's been a very, very large learning curve for the Finex Flow management in order to get the technical team right. But as you rightly say, we do have a number of open positions, and we are hiring globally, and we will become, a world-leading fintech. And in order to become a world-leading fintech, you have to have world-leading talent.
No, great. And literally, you read the notes I was writing as you spoke, which is crypto never sleeps. So we always need somebody awake somewhere just in case, and especially for Sunday afternoon when the gas fees are cheap in Asia. Okay, so carrying on talking about the Singapore environment, Joseph raised a point about Binance, and raised a question about, now that we're integrating with them as a liquidity provider, do you see us possible listing on Binance, or where you see that relationship going?
So Binance is a tough one because, the stance of the Singapore government of what we keep on kind of seeing is, they are not supporting Binance. So look, I never want to rule out anything. Anything's possible. So a listing could be possible. We took the decision. I sat with the compliance team and our chief compliance officer, and we decided that we were happy to integrate and aggregate liquidity from Binance. Obviously, they are the largest when it comes to depth of liquidity and potential product offerings, but especially within the spot markets. So yeah, I mean, look, they are very important to us right now, and it's actually a reason to why many institutional retail customers come to us, because if you're based in these jurisdictions where you can't access this liquidity provider or exchange, you can come to Finex Flow and still be able to trade. So it actually gives us a huge advantage over the rest of the market. So yeah, they are a liquidity provider. Getting a listing is slightly different because we were in talks with Binance probably around 6 months ago, I think, around that kind of time for a listing. The issue is Binance seems to make a lot of changes structurally, internally, or quite often, which isn't really publicized, but people come and join the company. They then leave. So the individuals that we were talking to about a listing, there was a certain process that Binance used to follow. They've changed their processes. They've changed the way that they interact, what they do. So it's slightly more, it's a challenge dealing with Binance because of all the changes that continuously happen, and the way that they have to change their focus, their scope, their policies and processes, procedures. But 100%, a listing on Binance could be possible, is viable, and yeah, I would be more than happy to continue those discussions that we had 6 months ago. The individuals left and they got replaced. But yeah, I will be pushing for a potential Binance listing Q1, Q2 next year, and we see if it comes to fruition. We do have a number of other listings that I really think are quite exciting. So yeah, I mean, we will be looking for a tier 1, tier 2 exchange Q1, Q2 next year, pretty early on, and get cracking for 2022.
Great, thanks for sharing that. Second question from Joseph Kenny. is when will the on-staking platform be available? For him, this is a massive feature, but even more so now, the opportunity to stake and earn rewards. Can you give us a bit more update on that?
Yeah, so we had to tighten up on our staking. So the tech team have been working on centralized staking, which is what we now have. Matt, being project manager, I'll flip this back on you. When do you anticipate that the centralized staking will be ready?
Okay, that's a really good question. Without going overly technical on this, we're doing some unit testing at the moment. So there's various components have been developed and are being tested as standalone units. We anticipate that we'll have all the bits of the jigsaw by the end of next week, tested and passed the first test. We then need to, very early in January, put the jigsaw together, make sure that the whole picture is complete, and then we'll be reaching out to the community from there. So that's quite literally the report from 2 hours ago. Good feedback on the initial testing. We think we'll have all the components ready to assemble in the start of the new year.
Fantastic. So there you go, Joseph. Matt has confirmed, I guess, January at some point it will be ready. So keep your tokens ready and available on the Finex Flow platform, and you'll be able to stake them at some point in January. But again, the tech team have done an amazing job, and we're just completing the final testing. Once we are confirmed and happy that obviously the testing's been completed, then it will be executed and expedited immediately.
Thanks very much. And thanks for the question, James. I didn't see that one coming. Final one of the questions, and I'll have a quick look in the live chat to see what we have there, is do you have an update on the availability of the debit card and update on some of the benefits that you see around the utility? Maybe just talk a little bit about what you see day one and maybe what you see for the halfway through 2022 for the card.
Yeah, sure. Great question. So the debit card will be rolled out fully on Google Pay by the end of January. So you'll be able to spend your FXF tokens, everyday kind of purchases. Now, with regards to the utility of it, the partnerships team have been doing an amazing job. We've been reaching out to lots of potential partners, whether that's the major brands like Netflix, etc. I can't really give too much information away at this point because we're still going through commercial terms, but there is going to be a large amount of utility to the card. There's also other entities that we're in conversations with. Again, it may or may not come to fruition. I'm going to give you a little bit of color and clarity, so don't hold a gun to my head and tell me, James, you told me it'd be this particular outlet, because we're still communicating on a commercial aspect, but I'll give you a little bit more information. So we're also speaking to a provider of vacations and holidays. So you'll be able to spend your FXF tokens and other USDT and stuff like that. You'll be able to buy potential holidays using your crypto. This is all preliminary discussions, so none of this is confirmed, but these are the kind of partnerships that we're looking for. So I know that there's a bunch of other exchanges that have utility on their token, but our group general director has done an amazing job to push the partnership team in really getting them to ramp up the amount of utility that we have. I'm hoping that the Finex Flow debit card by the end of Q2 next year will have the most amount of utility than any other crypto credit card, that they will constantly be adding more and more partners and giving more and more utility. Towards the end of March as well, we will be offering Apple Pay. So it won't only be Google Pay, but Apple Pay, or it's not guaranteed to be around the end of March again, because it's all technical kind of stuff. So being technical, it's not guaranteed, but around the end of Q1 will be when Apple Pay will also be included. So you'll be able to use Apple Pay and Google Pay for your everyday purchases, and we'll continue to work as hard as we possibly can to add as many partners and partnerships as we possibly can. So by spending your tokens and your stable coins, you'll be able to get huge savings on everyday kind of purchases, Spotify, etc. But again, any of the names that I've mentioned, just as a caveat, are not confirmed. They are not guaranteed, but these are the brands that we are talking to, and we are trying to add as many as we possibly can. So the debit card for everybody, including myself, because I'll also be holding tokens and USD. I'm very excited to use it. It's a very exciting time for the company to be rolling out the debit card.
Okay, so that's all the questions we had previously. There's a couple of quick ones from the online chat. Crypto_craze. I think it's kind of a follow-on from your last question, but we haven't had a chat about the macro environment yet. So what are you excited about in 2022? And keep it quite. I know there's so much to be excited about. Give me 2 or 3 things.
I would say the debit card. I would say the integration of all 39 LPs is super exciting. CFDs, futures and options as well. So not only just offering spot, and then rolling out Fix as well for our institutional customers is also super exciting. We'll be getting to plug in billions and billions and billions of flow, which will then kind of open up the rest of the traditional markets. So we really are allowing accessibility from the traditional markets into crypto. So these are the major kind of like highlights that I'm super excited for. Yeah.
Great answer, thanks. And I think that kind of traditional crypto is going to be a theme for 2022. XT Ziwaka is said, could you give some light on the marketing plan, sponsorship, any initiatives around sport? We've got a good heritage around sport with yourself and things. Maybe just some thoughts around that. No specifics. I know it's.
Yeah, look,
still early in the year.
Yeah, we've spoken to or been conversing with F1 teams. We've been speaking to the electronic F1 as well, the new EF1. I can't.
Formula E.
Formula E. That's the one. Yeah, we've been speaking to Formula E, which was quite interesting. Look, we've been speaking to lots and lots of different partnerships, sponsorships. Which is all very interesting, but something that any startup needs to do. Look, I'm more than willing to spend millions and millions of dollars on these kind of partnerships, but I want to have something where we're able to kind of like measure, right? Because if you just spend $2 million and you have no way of really quantifying the impact or how many signups or whatever, it's basically kind of like just wasting the money because like you just don't know or you can't quantify. So as a CEO, I need to be able to look at the numbers. I need to be able to know, okay, if I spent $2 million, what's the upside for the company? So that's really the hardest and the biggest challenge when you're going into these kind of sponsorships is trying to quantify. Right now we're not an FTX or a crypto.com where we've got billions of dollars that's coming onto our balance sheet. That is planned to be coming towards the end of 2022, and then obviously the answer to this question would be slightly different. But right now, still being in the startup phase, we do need to be cognizant of where we are and who we are and how we can spend and disperse capital and how we need to be able to measure certain metrics. So anything that we do go into will be carefully considered, but we are going to be moving into these kind of sponsorships at some point next year.
Great, thank you. And I'm conscious we're coming up on the end of the half hour, but I do want to try and tackle as many questions as we can. I'm going to roll about 2 or 3 questions into one. I think we're talking a little bit, if you could maybe just reiterate, there's a question around the number of LPs, what we have on the website versus where we actually are, and the idea around new pairs as well. And that's covering about 3 questions from Nicholas Chong, HD, and Cartid KK. So if you could maybe just give us a bit of a wrap up on that for the last question. Rather than, yeah, sure. I don't think we're going to have time to get to all 3, but if you can give us that'd be great.
Yeah, sure. So new pairs, we're hoping to have some new pairs before Christmas. Not sure how many, but hopefully it's going to be a few. So that's going to be pretty good. Sorry, the other part of the question was
around the website and the number of LPs as well.
Okay, so the website's currently being updated or in the background. It's something that was highlighted to our marketing team that I don't feel that our current website does us justice on exactly the offerings that we have and what we offer. That really is our shop window. So we are going through that. So again, Q1, Q2 next year, we will have a total revamp, and it will be absolutely amazing. The team are doing a brilliant job with regards to the wireframe as we speak. And then the final part around the number of LPs. We are actively, the partnership team again are signing up more and more the liquidity providers. We do have, as far as I'm aware, 39 that we've signed relationships with. We've currently aggregated 7, and we're adding more and more each and every month. To tie this back to the other question about hiring of tech staff, we're hiring more tech guys to basically be able to integrate these liquidity providers as quickly as possible. And then obviously the final challenge with regards to aggregating all these LPs is the fact that we need to do rebalancing. We need to be able to offer margin, and the treasury team are doing an amazing job with regards to getting all of this algorithmically set. So all the rebalancing, all of the really, really technical margin requirements that we have are all being dealt with. And then the technical team are obviously dealing with multiple APIs, whether it's REST web or Fix, and they are working around the clock to make sure that we're able to deal with all of these with an internal order matching engine. So, yep, that's pretty much the answer for all 3 questions.
Perfect, thank you. So, I mean, just to maybe summarize that, we're making a few key tech hires. Then we're putting the structure and process in place for 2022 for the new assets, the LPs, and the futures products as well. Perfect, great answer, thank you. We are just over now, so maybe if you want to say a last thing to the community. I'd like to say thank you very much for being relatively new to the team. I've felt incredibly welcome in Telegram. I've had some incredible questions doing this. I've really enjoyed doing this. And maybe James, just to close us out.
Yeah, Matt, thank you for joining the team. You've been amazing since being a part of the team. So thank you very much. I'd just say thank you to everybody for supporting the project. I do know that certain people get impatient and get frustrated, as do I. It's a natural feeling, and naturally sometimes we feel like things aren't moving as quickly as possible. I think that also comes down to sometimes maybe the transparency hasn't been as perfect as what I would have hoped. I do keep on mentioning to marketing and our team that we are going to be a little bit more transparent moving forward. There's going to be a change of tact when it comes to the community. So next year we're going to be a lot more active with regards to our reports and what we're giving to you, because obviously a lot of people ask a lot of questions, but that's generally not because you're not supporting the project, it's because you're unsure on the direction that we're going in. Questions are very, very good. So please keep on giving us the questions. Pressure is also good as well, right? Because when you guys put us under a little bit of pressure, it helps everybody get motivated and push us along a little bit quicker as well. So, keep on interacting, keep on supporting the project. And I'm absolutely certain that every single one of our team members, we're also passionate about the project we're doing, what we're building. We will become global #1, as I keep on barking on about. We just need a little bit of time. We need a little bit of patience, but we are supporting everybody in the community the best we possibly can. We're doing everything we can to have the best product, and we will get there in 2022. So again, Merry Christmas and a happy festive period to everybody, all the community, all of your families. I hope you have a great festive period and a happy new year to everybody. And it's going to be an amazing 2022. So once again, thank you for all of your support.
Thank you, James. And thanks everyone for joining, and happy Christmas.